Things are about to get a little bit spicy, baby. Ryan Reynolds, the man, the myth, the legend, the one who I would consider is solely responsible for showing Marvel Studios how to get Blade right, is sharing what he has heard regarding Marvel Studios' opinion on Channing Tatum's portrayal of Gambit. And guess what? The studio seemed to have fell in love with what Channing Tatum has brought to the table, portraying that of Remy LeBeau. It seems that we may have found our man, and may very well be one of the first castings for the X-Men reboot. And I say one of the first castings because I have every reason to believe that Hugh Jackman will return as Wolverine in Marvel's upcoming X-Men reboot. And Channing Tatum may very well be coming along with him. Now, today's news comes from MovieWeb.com. It is titled, Ryan Reynolds says Marvel is obsessed with this X-Men Heroes revival in Deadpool and Wolverine. Stop right there. Obsessed. Do you know the definition of that word? That implies that Marvel Studios cannot stop thinking about this man. That's right, baby. Shout out to the Cajun Cannon. He seems to have caught Marvel Studios' attention, and it's about damn time, right? When Deadpool and Wolverine was first announced, the big screen return or appearance that everybody, it says everyone, but I'm going to use my southern talk and say everybody, was anticipating was Hugh Jackman putting his claws back on to portray Logan once again. Little did we know, the film will be littered with more surprises, including allowing Channing Tatum the chance to finally portray Gambit on the big screen. The actor was attached to the role for years before the project was scrapped following Disney's accusation of 20th Century Fox. But Tatum's scene-stealing turn was a highlight for fans. According to Deadpool star Ryan Reynolds, Marvel was overjoyed with his performance as well. Not too often you hear that type of compliment, right? And let's go down here. During a chat on Entertainment Weekly Awards podcast, Reynolds admitted that Marvel was obsessed with Tatum's performance as Gambit, and even though he doesn't know what the future holds for the actor as the character, he believes that their enthusiasm is encouraging for a possible return. Quote, I honestly don't know what goes on behind closed doors in the bookkeeping sessions at Marvel, but I do know that they are obsessed with him in that role. It's kind of like the same situation I went through. Once you show that it works well, that's really what they need. Sometimes they just need to see it in action, unquote. So what he's referring to is back when he leaked the Deadpool footage, I believe that was 2014 or 15. Fox was on the fence about a Deadpool film, and Ryan Reynolds was trying to convince them that a Deadpool franchise will work, right? Fox eventually saw the feedback of the fans, online, and they went ahead on and produced the film. And what do you know? Deadpool, at this very moment, is amongst one of the top performing comic book trilogies of all time. And I would like to say franchise because from my understanding, Deadpool and Wolverine isn't Deadpool 3. That's what the director said. That's what Ryan Reynolds said. That's what the producer said. Deadpool and Wolverine is like a start of a new trilogy altogether. So at this very moment, Deadpool is amongst the most successful franchises that is out there right now. So Ryan Reynolds was right about Deadpool. He was right about that of Channing Tatum. And guess what? Let's not forget, he advocated for Wesley Snipes to return. So He's most likely is right about that. But Marvel Studios being obsessed with Shannon Tatum's Gambit says a lot. It implies that the studio very well wants him to come back, right? They're trying to get this X-Men roster together, and you might as well go where you already have some success at, right? That's why I said Hugh Jackman, and you now have Shannon Tatum's Gambit, and who knows? They may even bring back the guy who plays Cyclops, in the X-Men prequel films, the younger guy, right? The guy who played on Ready Player One, right? Fantastic Cyclops. So who knows? Or they could go the more mature route, right? They could go to where everybody is over 35, and I love that take, right? In fact, that's how X-Men is supposed to look. Don't get me wrong. I love X-Men First Class. I love all of those X-Men films that followed that of the first two X-Men films, but except for X-Men The Last Stand. But the more mature cast was the most intriguing, right? Absolutely loved it. Loved the dynamic, loved the chemistry, loved the relationships, loved everything about it, right? You feel like the cast can be a little bit more mature when they're up to age. So Shannon Tatum being in that range could very well just be an automatic for Marvel Studios, and I would love every bit of it, man. Shannon Tatum as Gambit was something that I hoped would very well accomplish being great, and he did that just by playing the character for 30 minutes in the film. He managed to show us that the Gambit film being canceled was a missed opportunity, and it should have never got canceled. Yeah, don't get me wrong, Disney wanted to do something different with the X-Men franchise, but look, we haven't really did anything as of yet, right? So they could have allowed the X-Men films that was in development to unfold, right? You let the New Mutants film come out. You did. And that film flopped. Don't get me wrong, it was during the pandemic, but that film flopped. It wasn't a good X-Men film. And I have every reason to believe that a Gambit film would have been 100 times better than that. May even have been better than X-Men Apocalypse or X-Men Phoenix. Dark Phoenix, that's the name of it. Who knows? And I know some folks feels like, man, a Gambit film with that dialogue, it just isn't going to work. The main character talking like that through the entire film, it's not going to work. Deadpool and Wolverine showed you how it would work. And you don't have to make it a constant joke, but you acknowledge in the film that many people cannot understand what he's saying, right? But you can give us a Gambit film. And I notice because people are acting like Gambit never had his own solo run in comics. I mean, come on, let's pull it up here. See how many solo runs Gambit had. All right. Is it going to show me? I know. Gambit comic book list right here. Now, they have a lot of X-Men comics here, but we have Gambit and Rogue. You can go that route. You have Rogue and Gambit. You have Gambit. They're just Gambit. You have multiple stories you can tell regarding that of the Cajun canon. So with that being said, a film can work as long as you do the right thing by writing it correctly and not putting too much BS into it. I'm trying to tell you guys more Gambit comic books titles. Right here we have the Gambit #1. This issue was released in what? Next issue. It doesn't even tell me what's going on here, man. We got Gambit #1, Gambit #2, Gambit #3, Gambit #4, Gambit #5. So we have some Gambit stories. Gambit goes all the way up to 17 issues. 17 issues. So you have a lot of lore to pull from, right? That may very well be the same as one Lord of the Rings book, right? Think about that for a second. So a Gambit film can happen, and it is good that Marvel Studios is considering, or should I say most likely have found their Remy LeBeau in Shannon Tatum. The man deserves it. He should have gotten his opportunity a long time ago. Now for some bonus footage here, we have some good news and we have some bad news regarding that of Star Wars. That's right, baby. This article comes from The Verge. It is titled Star Wars is reportedly getting a new film trilogy. Oh my goodness. Disney, stop it. Stop it. You screwed up the last trilogy. You messed up the Skywalkers and you don't understand the Force. Why are you doing this? The future of Star Wars movies just got a little bit more confusing. Deadline and Variety both report that Lucasfilm has tapped Simon Kinberg, best known for his work on the X-Men films. I just mentioned the X-Men films, which I do like, to write and develop a new Star Wars trilogy. Kinberg will be working alongside Lucasfilm's boss, Kathleen Kennedy. That's your problem. To produce them, according to reports. That's your damn problem. Just what that trilogy will look like is unclear. Deadline says it could be a continuation of the Skywalker story. Please don't. Please. You have already screwed that up, Disney. I'm sorry. No. All right. But I would say the Skywalkers is where you should be residing at. Your problem is you're getting away from the Skywalkers. Now you're too far away from them. You got Ray Palpatine over there, trying to steal a man's name and all that there. No. They ain't a Skywalker. A Skywalker is by blood. And if you're not telling a story about the Skywalker bloodline, don't even attempt to go there. All right, where were I? Which would make these episodes 10, 11, and 12. But it could also be a brand new trilogy that is tied in part to the other 3 Star Wars movies that Lucasfilm announced last year, which will be directed by James Mangold, Dave Filoni, and Sherman Abed Shonai. I think that's how you say it. Shonoi? How do you say that name? Lucasfilm previously said that Shanoi's film will bring back Daisy Ridley's Rey as she attempts to build a new Jedi Order. No. Not too often, there's a franchise that I love that I hope will stop. And Star Wars is definitely that franchise right now. Like, Rey getting another trilogy is something that most of us may not be interested in. And let me tell you why. Let's go to boxofficemojo.com, baby. Let's go to Star Wars. Now, you guys know what I be telling you about films box office, and if they have a trilogy, how it should look a little bit better than the previous film that was released before it. Now, don't get me wrong, I know you will be quick to point out that, dude, you do not give the same energy for that of the Venom franchise, but you have to understand this. The Venom franchise is a franchise based on a D, or should I say an E-list character. But when you have something of the caliber of Star Wars or DC or Marvel right now, the film trilogy should be increasing. Let's go. Episode 7, The Force Awakens. The movie opened to $247 million domestically. It went on to earn $936 million domestically, $1.1 billion overseas, and $2 billion worldwide. Nearly 2.1. Let's go to episode 8, The Last Jedi. The film, in my honest opinion, that just ruined it all. The film opened to $220 million domestically. Good, huh? But it earned $620 million in its domestic total, $714 million overseas, and $1.3 billion, nearly $800 million less than the previous film. Then we go to episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker, the one that I absolutely despise the most. Where is it? Right here, this ugly film. It opened to $177 million domestically. It went on to earn $515 million domestically, $561 million overseas, and just $1 billion worldwide. So it barely crossed over the $1 billion mark. So that is diminishing returns, ladies and gentlemen. Right there. That tells you that you did something wrong. And get this. When you talk about episode 8, right? There's this article right now that is talking about episode 8, and it's from Forbes. It said, why Star Wars The Last Jedi blew through its budget with costs of $410 million. So, if you go back to episode 8, that film earned $1.3 billion. And I always tell you guys that a film needs 3 times its budget to earn a profit. Because you have to understand this. If they spent more than $410 million, the marketing budget is no less than about $250 million. So, with that being said, Disney has been losing money on that of Star Wars for quite some time. Maybe many people do not want to acknowledge it, but as you know, on the 4KO, I'm going to let you know.